All right, diagnosing your webinar funnel. This document, I mean this, I'm raising my voice. This thing is absolutely worth $1 million plus. Why? Because this is 4.5 years of blood, sweat, and tears and over $250,000 invested in Facebook ads to know these numbers and well into the seven figures in terms of revenue. So what we're showing you is the goals that you want to shoot for at each stage of the funnel. Now, I want to say very quickly, when you ask questions about like the performance of your webinar, we want to know your numbers. We want to know your numbers for every single one of these. So if you have a question, if like you say, oh, I'm not getting enough booked calls, we want to see every single number in your webinar funnel. We want to see your click-through rate through your Facebook ad, which you should be at 1% or more. We're wanting to know your webinar registration page conversion rate, which is another way of saying this is your opt-in rate. If 100 people go to your webinar registration page, they click on your Facebook ad and they go to your webinar registration page, then you should be converting 20% or more. That means 20% or more of those people should be registering for your webinar. So of those people that show up for your webinar, of those people who register for your webinar, you want 60% of them or more to actually watch the webinar. That means that between showing up live, the people who show up live, and those who watch the replay, you want at least 60% of the people who register for the event to show up. Of those people who show up, you want 20 to 25% or more to book a call with you. That means that, again, the people who actually show up for the webinar, you want them at least 20 to 25% to stay to the end and book a call with you, a breakthrough session or whatever you decide to call it. Now, we also, of those people who book a call with you, we want the show up rate to be 75% or higher. Once again, that just simply means that of all those who book a call with you, book a breakthrough session, discovery call, whatever you decide to call it, 75% of those people or more show up for that appointment. Now, if you are not hitting any one of those numbers, before you start asking questions, you need to look at the troubleshooting that you will find on each one of these steps in the funnel. If you're not getting a click-through ratio of 1% or higher, these are things that you can try. If you're not getting an opt-in rate of 20% or more in your webinar registration page, these are the different things that you can try. And also things to look at. If you're not getting your webinar converting, like it's not getting 20 to 25% of the people who actually book a call, then these are the different questions you need to ask and different ideas of how you can actually improve, again, that ratio. And then finally, of the people who book a call with you, are you getting 75% of them to actually show up? And if not, these are different things that you can look at and changes that you can make. So one of the key things to point out here, it says very clearly at the beginning of the troubleshooting, it says that we want to see, let me just show it to you real quick. Well, it is in here somewhere. But one of the things that we say is that you want at least 50%, 50 people or more to watch your webinar so you can really begin to know your numbers. Let me say that again. Many of you are going to start running your webinar ads. You're going to start getting people onto your webinar. Many of you are going to start getting booked calls. Some of you are going to be hitting these numbers that we're giving you. Some of you may not, and that's okay, because that just means that you simply need to make changes. We made changes to our webinar. So don't freak out. Don't be emotional. This is the time to have faith in your webinar and the process. And at least you know what numbers to shoot for. And at least you have these different things that you can try and different things to look at before, getting upset. This is part of the process of running a business, is that you're going to have things come up. And these are opportunities. They're not negatives, they're opportunities. think about it this way. Let's just say that you're getting a 12% opt-in rate, meaning that 12% of the people that show up to your webinar registration page that click on your Facebook ad and go to your webinar registration page, only 12% of them are opting in. They're registering for the webinar. Okay, well, if you see that, and then we give you some ideas of how you can make some changes there, and then all of a sudden that opt-in rate goes to 25%, you have more than doubled the amount of people now that are booking, that are opting in for your webinar. The more people you get on your webinar, ultimately, the more booked calls you'll have. The more booked calls you have, the more clients you'll have. So what we want people to do is to run your webinar, run your ads, and get at least 50 people or more to register for your webinar, and then we can really look at your numbers. If you don't have at least 50 people or more, it's not saying we won't try to help you, but it's really difficult to try to diagnose the situation if you've had less than 50 people register for your webinar. Okay, this right here, once again, this is your saving grace. This is something you need to come back to again and again and again. This is a numbers game. It doesn't mean it doesn't take away from the beauty and the magic of your relationship with your perfect client. It's simply stating that you have to be pragmatic and know your numbers. Please do not ask us questions without giving us the full picture. And again, please wait until you've had at least 50 people register for your webinar so that we can really give you a great idea, a better idea of what you can do to make changes. So that's it. Hope you've enjoyed the training, and I'll see you on the next.